It is mailbag time here on Chicago Bears Now. Welcome in. I'm Harrison Graham from Chat Sports, and on today's show, we're going to answer all your questions. So load them up by using hashtag Bears or the Super Chat function. From Andy M., are you more worried about O-line or wide receiver after Mooney injury for Fields' development the rest of the year? O-line still scares me for Fields' health this year. I mean, yeah, it's a tricky one, right? I still think the O-line has to be a slightly bigger priority, but you could argue either way. I'll put it this way. Let's say the Bears get the third pick and trade down to like the 10th pick, right? I think you can follow your big board with whatever, O-line, receiver, maybe even defensive line, and you take the best player available. I don't think you have to clearly be like, we have to force an O-lineman here, force a receiver pick. I think you need to be flexible there, but they're both big needs. There's no doubt about it. Kurt Morrow, you think a QB-needy team would overpay us for the second pick if we do land there? I think, yes. I do think that teams will come calling if you get that number 2 pick and Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud is on the board. I think that teams are going to want a quarterback. I mean, let's just go through. I'll pull up the NFL standings real quick here. Give me a second, guys. NFL standings here. Teams that could use a pick. I'll actually use Tankathon here. Teams that could want to move up. All right, Carolina. Let's say they end up with the 5th, 6th, 7th pick. Bears are picking at 2. They need a quarterback like they need oxygen. Seattle. Geno Smith's been a good story, but I could see them drafting their quarterback of the future. Detroit, I'm not trading with Detroit, I don't think, to get them their franchise quarterback. How about the Raiders? They could move on from Derek Carr, or they could even groom a young quarterback for 1 year behind Derek Carr, then move on. A team like Atlanta, Indianapolis, Pittsburgh maybe, if they're not sold on Kenny Pickett. There's teams that are going to want to move up. So Tampa Bay, Tom Brady's probably not going to be back there next year. So teams are going to come calling if quarterbacks are available there. Chris Passon, what's up, Doc? Rank the following players on most likely to get an extension this offseason: Jaylon Johnson, Kmet, Darnell Mooney, and Chase Claypool. It's a good question because all are eligible for contract extensions this offseason. If I had to rank it, I would probably go this Mooney injury thing. I don't think it's an ankle. I think it's fine. I'd probably go Mooney 1, Johnson 2, Kmet 3, Claypool 4. I just want to see more from Claypool. Now, if you could get Claypool on the cheaper side, like $10 million a year, I'd probably just take my chances, 3 years, $30 million, and do it. But he'd probably rather bet on himself and play next year out. But that's how I would order it. Now, what do you think is most likely? If you had to pick one guy that's most likely to get an extension here this offseason, type JJ for Jaylon Johnson, type DM for Darnell Mooney, CK for Cole Kmet, or CC for Chase Claypool. If you had to pick one guy most likely to get that extension, let me know who you guys think it will end up being. From Peloton, is there a chance that the Bears draft Kelee, Ringo, or Joey Porter with their first pick because CB is still in question? I do think it's possible. I think that would almost certainly have to be in a trade-down scenario where you trade down. You're not drafting Kelee, Ringo, or Joey Porter if you stay in the top 3. Like, if you pick in the top 4, it's Will Anderson or Jalen Carter, I think. I just, things could change, but I just think that's what it would be. Corner I do think it's a need. I like Jaylon Johnson. I think Kyler Gordon has potential, but I don't think Kendall Vilder's that guy. I think he's gotten better, but he's not a starting caliber player in my opinion. I think he's a great CB4. And, we don't know if Gordon's going to be great or not. He's been very up and down up to this point. So, yeah, I do think corner is a position to watch out for the Bears. Bob Harris, what should we do if we get the number 1 pick? I think you trade that puppy, man. Like, you just come calling Houston, come calling whoever, and unless it's Detroit, you take the top offer. So, assuming it's a good offer, right? Like, if you have to pick there, then you follow your big board. Will Anderson, Jalen Carter, whatever. But I don't think they'll get the number 1 pick. I don't see Houston winning twice. So that's what I would say. But if you do, then hey, then you've got options. You've got options. Tyler Coffey, should the Bears cut Lucas Patrick in the offseason? They certainly could, and I would be open to it. I think between Mustipher and Patrick, you pick one to be your backup center, and you go get a center. And Mustipher as the backup may actually make more sense because he'll be cheaper. So, the Lucas Patrick thing just didn't work out. Doesn't mean there's no chance he's back next year. Doesn't mean he couldn't start at center next year. I don't think you can operate that way, considering he only played 2 series at center this entire season. But, I think center's a position you got to address. FGB T-shirts available for you guys. Chatsports.com/FGB. It is chatsports.com/FGB. Get your F Green Bay T-shirts today. I'll be rocking it on game day this Sunday. And let's go get the FGBs going in the comments section. Jeff Owens with the Super Chat. Appreciate that. What would be the top 3 free agents you target in the offseason? I would love to see Harrison's perfect offseason as Bears GM video. That's a good video idea. I'll probably hit it next week during the bye week, so stay tuned for that. I was kind of thinking about that. I've done some free agency and draft videos, but maybe a perfect mock offseason is a good video that I'll do, so subscribe and stay tuned. But top 3 free agents, I think either Deron Payne or Javon Hargrave at defensive tackle would be a really nice addition. Other free agents, maybe you target a Juju Smith-Schuster, a McCole Hardman at receiver, someone like that. Someone mentioned earlier Tony Pollard. That would be a fun piece to add to this offense. Maybe a Marcus Davenport coming off the edge. I want to look at the cornerback list as well. I think, if you could get a CB2 type in free agency and go Johnson, insert CB2, and Kyler Gordon, that way you don't have to take a corner early in the draft, I think that could be something you could do as well. Pearson Adam, who you taking, Jalen Carter, Will Anderson, or Quentin Johnston? I love Quentin Johnston, but I think I would take Carter and Anderson higher. Now, I do think Johnston would be the top receiver I would target. It would be close between him and Jordan Addison. Jackson Smith and Jigma not playing pretty much all season just has kind of, backed me off of him a little bit. Now, hopefully he, gets to go to the combine, test well, and does pro day workouts, and it's all good. But I like Johnston better at this point, but I do think Carter or Anderson would have to be the pick in that scenario. Subscribe to the channel. Like we said, we publish videos every single day, sometimes 2 videos every day like we did on Monday. So hit the subscribe button. When news drops, we have you covered. When big rumors are out there, we do that as well. A lot of mock drafts as of late. I will continue to bring you those also. So subscribe today. It's youtube.com/BearsNow. JR Production, Harrison, when will you visit Chicago? Would love to drink a beer with you. Great work. I would love to make that happen. Now, I will say, with a baby on the way, I don't think it'll be after this season in the offseason. That's just going to be too challenging. But I would like to do that sometime. Maybe we can make it work, through Chat Sports here. Maybe we could do some kind of watch party out there one day. We've done that with other channels before. But, I would like to do that. I really would. So, I can't promise anything, but I'd like to get out there. I would. Michael Lewis, bring back Vic Fangio at DC. I just don't see it because Eberflus is a 4-3 background guy and Fangio's a 3-4 guy, so they're not going to change the scheme, and I don't think they're going to hire a 3-4 background at DC to run a 4-3. So I don't think it's gonna happen. So I just don't. Michael Ellis, what O-linemen are in the draft that we would like to see on the Bears? Well, the Penn State guy is coming back to school, Olu, whatever his name is, so he's out. Paris Johnston out of Ohio State is a good one. Peter Skoronski out of Northwestern. Both those guys, Big Ten country, local area kids. So those are a couple, but I'll be honest, guys, especially high in the draft, it's not a great offensive line draft. So I could see Poles investing money in free agency on the offensive line. I really could. Who is your favorite Bears player of all time? Is it Sweetness, Walter Payton there, Devin Hester, Gale Sayers? Who are we talking about? Brian Urlacher. Who's your favorite Bears player of all time? Drop a name down in the comments. Answer a couple more here. Who's your top receiver in the draft? I think it's Quentin Johnston 1, Jordan Addison close. I just like Johnson's size and speed combination there. Addison's a smaller guy. He honestly reminds me of just a better Darnell Mooney, Jordan Addison. but Jackson Smith and Jigba's still really good. Jalen Hyatt out of Tennessee is a good player. Cedric Tillman. So there's some good players. Sebastian, do you see Pringle being with us next season? He finally made some plays Sunday. If he is, I think it would be for the vet minimum compared to what they gave him, $4 million or whatever. He competes for, wide receiver 4 or 5 job. I mean, when they signed him, it was like, he might be the number 2 receiver this year, and obviously that did not work out. So, I could see between him, St. Brown, maybe N'Keal Harry if they start playing him again some, one or two of those guys being back for back into the depth chart guys, but I don't see any of those guys playing a big role next year. From Paraloo, do you think Rodgers will play this week? I don't know. If I was Green Bay, and I'm being serious here, this is not like anti-Rodgers Packers guy, although FGB, FAR, we know that, but if I was Green Bay, they're also out of the playoff hunt, I would shut down Rodgers for the year and play Jordan Love the rest of the year. See what he is. I mean, I don't think he's great. I thought he made a couple nice throws against the Eagles the other night. So I would evaluate him if I'm the Packers. He's in year 3 now. If you don't evaluate him now, when are you going to? So I'm going to guess it's Jordan Love, but I don't know the answer to that question. Grant Nikolai, how does the receiver depth line up now? Sign someone to take Mooney's spot? Well, I think do we have the receiver depth chart? We actually don't have it available at this exact moment, but hopefully Claypool's receiver 1 gets a lot of targets. But, I mean, you're going to continue to see the same suspects, I would imagine. St. Brown, Pringle. I would like to see Velus Jones and N'Keal Harry more, but doesn't seem that that's going to be the way. That's what I would do. I would evaluate those guys, but, that's kind of where we're at here. Appreciate you guys for tuning in to Bears Now. Follow me on social at HGramNFL on Twitter and on Instagram. And slide in the DMs. They're always open if you have any questions. So feel free to hit me up over there. It's at HGramNFL on Twitter and on Instagram.